Hello, everyone. Happy Friday. I hope your weekend is off to a great start. I am very happy to see that Friday evening is here. Enjoying the Matches Memorial Friday 7 Ellie with some Haunted Bookshop, as is tradition, and it is delicious. Tastes especially good today because this was a week to remember, but more on that later. So how is everyone doing tonight? Let's see. We've got ENAS Dad, Corvette Jim, Steve Russell. Good to see you guys tonight. Jeffrey Feinberg, JMZ 56. Good to see you, John. Uh, Ron Hardcrackers. How's it going, Ron? I will not pop a beer open, but I do indeed have a. Oh, you're wondering which? Well, I just gave it away. MTMTB. Good to see you tonight. And I saw Tim Fournier earlier, and Tim, that hurts. Sorry to hear about that, buddy. And I saw Todd was here too. So good to see you tonight, Little Fat Morgan. Boris the Piper, hello Boris. George Tiedemann, fantastic. The gang's all here. Ah, I had a pretty good day today. It was just a long day, and I'm a bit tired out from it. But yesterday was, well, I'm just going to say it was a bad day. It all ended well, but and I should warn you that my darling wife has not returned yet. She was supposed to come back on Wednesday. That's another story that I'll get into if I remember. But she's still in Pittsburgh. So if the dogs start going crazy for some reason, they shouldn't. I got the TV on. They should be happy. But if they do, I might have to put the little musical thing back on for a few minutes while I go and figure out what's going on with them. But hopefully that won't happen. But yeah, she's in Pittsburgh. She went out there so this gets very confusing. I have trouble figuring out who's who in her family. I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just there's a lot of them, and I get confused. Nick Trapani, good to see you tonight, Nick. And Tim, sorry you're not even smoking tonight. That's a shame. And Michael Case, hello Michael, drinking Coke Zero and enjoying the 85-degree weather. Pipe goes away for the summer, huh? You do cigars then, Michael? Peter the Smooth Piper is here. How you doing, Peter? Great to see you. Happy Friday. And Big Dave, how you doing, Big Dave? I, by the way, am enjoying a martini tonight. It is a vodka martini, but I am balancing that out with a large glass of water. So anyway, my wife goes to this graduation party for her cousin's son. I don't know what that is, but her second cousin maybe? I don't know. He graduates and he's a good kid. Now, they moved to Texas, so they actually live in Austin. But because all of his friends are still in Pittsburgh, they traveled back to Pittsburgh for this graduation party, and my wife wanted to go because she wanted to see them because she hasn't seen them in a while. So that's why she's there. Well, everybody got sick. It's not COVID, it's a cold, which people do still get apparently. And they've been passing this cold around and everybody's sick. And she called me up on Wednesday and she said, I just can't do it. I can't make the trip. And I said, it's no problem. I can handle things for however long it takes. Not a problem. Wait until you feel better. And her mom and dad are both in their 80s and they're both sick, so she's helping them out. And so it's a good thing that she's staying there. Plus, I don't want it. I want it to stay out in Western Pennsylvania. So, take your time. So, Bella likes to watch Welcome Back, Kotter. I have not tried that. I don't even know what's on. I just turned the television on, so I have no idea what they're watching. That could be a problem. Beowulf and Miss Kathy, did I see you earlier? And Poonie Man Piper, good to see you tonight. If not, welcome. If I did, well, you get welcome twice. So, no, it's not monkeypox nor mono. It's just a cold, Tim. So anyway, she's this is Wednesday night. It's not a problem. Just it's actually Wednesday morning because she was coming back Wednesday. It's not a problem. Just stay. So I go through Wednesday just fine, and I go to work on Thursday. Now keep in mind, she's got her car, I've got my car, and my car has the steering problem. But it's okay. You can drive it with it. Just a little looseness in the steering. It's not going to be a problem, right? I'm a couple blocks away from work, and I come to a stoplight, and the car just shuts down. I've never experienced this. There was a few stops back, the idle was a little weird. It was just kind of a little bit of a stutter in the idle, and I thought that's odd, but I didn't think much of it. And a couple lights later, it just shut down completely. There was no stuttering of the engine or anything. It just wasn't running anymore. I thought, that's probably not very good. I turn the key, car starts right up. I thought, did I stall it? Because it's a standard. I didn't think I stalled it. Drive a little bit longer, come to another stop, same thing happens. Starts right up. Get to work where the parking lot is. As I'm turning into the parking lot and I'm slowing down to make the turn into the parking lot, shuts down. I managed to coast it into a spot, and yeah, I don't know what's wrong with it. I've never had this kind of problem with the car. Normally if a car is going to stop on you or stall out, you get some warning. It just went completely dead. It was very odd. So I had to get a rental car because my wife is in Pittsburgh and I have to be able to get around, and I got the dogs here. I'm at work. I've got to go out to dinner for a business dinner that night. And I'll add a little bit to the story. We got the dogs back from the kennel after our vacation. While they were at the kennel, we got 2 little bags of dog food because we weren't sure that one would be enough to stretch them while they were at the kennel, because we take the food that they eat. So we pick them up at the kennel, and they give us back a nearly full little bag of dog food. And we keep our dog food, we buy 25-pound bags, and we've got this canister thing that we pour it into, and the top seals on it. And there's a little shelf behind that, and sitting on top of this is the nearly full bag of dog food. And I see that every morning and every evening when I'm getting the dog's food, and the food's getting lower and lower, and I realize, okay, I don't have enough food Thursday morning. So I go to grab the nearly full bag of dog food. It was empty. What kind of a person would take that nearly full bag of dog food, pour it into the canister, and then sit it up on that shelf for me to think it was full? So now I'm out of dog food, I'm at work, my car's dead, and I have to go out to a business dinner. So I called for a rental car. It was the only thing I could do. Got the rental, left the car in the lot overnight, actually got it towed today. I had AAA tow it. I broke down and had them tow it to the dealer because I got to get this steering thing fixed anyway. So this is going to be, it's either going to be really expensive or I'm going to decide that the car's not worth it. I'm not sure which, but I really like the car. I'm emotionally invested in it, but it's also, it's in good shape, and I just love it. It's the perfect fishing car. It's the perfect car to throw the dogs in and go somewhere. It's been with me for 10, 12 years now. And yeah, maybe it's its time, but we shall see. Big Dave, yeah, it could be a fuel pump, but it's weird that it would start up so easily. And same with the clogged fuel filter. I would think, in the past when I've had those issues, it shut down, but it wouldn't start again, or at least not that easily. This was like there was nothing wrong. It wasn't cold, Ian said. It was, it wasn't warm, but it was in the 60s. Yeah, so the Urban Hermit, how you doing there tonight, Everett? Good to see you. Oh, Tim's got the Welcome Back Kotter theme in my head. Thank you, Tim. So me and Bella will both be singing that. Stony Lawn Cottage, you can't be late. It's good to see you. Oh, I see. You were the was it cold was in reference to Ron's frozen margarita that jumped into his hand. I got you. That's what I get for babbling on and not paying attention. So anyway, that was yesterday. Today was fine. Today was just a long day, but I did go out to dinner last night with work colleagues and a visitor, and that's the first time. We used to do this all the time. I mean, at least once a month, and in other jobs even more often than that. I remember my previous job, my wife joked that I was having dinner with my boss more than I was having it with her, and it was actually true for a couple of weeks. So, but yeah, it was kind of fun because we haven't done this in so long, you know, with all the COVID and all that stuff. So we actually went to a restaurant, sat around a table together for the first time in a very long time. Fuel pump pressure may be low intermittently. It could be, Big Dave. Yeah, I don't know. Piper on the 45. Yes, please do lurk and drive safely, buddy. Yes, yes, Beowulf and Miss Kathy. I had the Home Depot experience that I talked about on Sunday. Fuel pump's not making noise when I turn the key, no. Just sounds like the car starting up. There's really nothing odd there. One thing that confuses me, and I can't imagine is connected to this, but maybe one of you guys knows better than I, because my knowledge of cars pretty much stops after like 1978. I don't really understand fuel injectors and all the computer modules and sensors and all that stuff. The dashboard lit up with the letters EPS in red, and when I looked that up on the Hyundai, apparently that has got something to do with the power steering system. Now I can understand there might be something odd about the power steering because of the problem I had with the steering wheel, but why would that shut the car down? So I don't know. I don't know, but anyway, that was my fun time. So yeah, it was just this terrible combination of things. Because my wife came home when she was supposed to, and I'm not blaming her because she's sick, but if she came home when she was supposed to, it wouldn't have been a big deal. I would have said, "Oh, car's dead. You got to come pick me up," and you know, everything would have been fine. And we would have had dog food because she would have known the bag was empty. That I'm a little upset about. That's great, Tim. It's great to have those kind of traditions, and I like that y'all sit on the same side for the Last Supper. That's funny. Someone told me once, "Hey, Kirk from Florida. Good to see you, Kirk. Hope you're well." Someone told me once that it's more intimate to sit on the same side of the table with someone, and I thought that was kind of odd because I would think looking into someone's eyes was actually more intimate. But my wife and I, we both heard this. We tried it once, and it was actually very strange. It was a little odd because you know you have to turn to look at the person and all that, and you feel just a little strange about it. But it was, you know, because your plates are right there in front of you. You can see what the other person's eating and all that. It was an interesting experience. So if you've never tried it, you might enjoy it. I don't know. MTB is thinking maybe it shuts down so you don't drive down the road without steering. But I had steering. Like even when it was shut down, I could still steer. Jeffrey Feinberg wants me to get a 10-speed bike with a basket on the front. Yeah, it's hard to fit a 9-foot fly rod in there. So, well, if Judas is giving you a kiss, that's actually quite intimate, Tim. Maybe not the kind of intimacy you want, but glad you're hanging in there, Kirk. Oh, and oh, hey Voodoo, great to see you tonight, buddy. The the best part of all this is, I call up the dealer and say I'm having the car towed in, and they say, okay, fine, yeah, you can have it dropped off and all that. And I say, okay, fantastic. Do I need to do anything else? And they said, no, no, we'll get in touch with you. Let me just schedule the appointment. So the first opening we have is July 27th. I said, you gotta be kidding me. July 27th is the first time you're gonna be able to look at the car? They said, well, our engine specialist is tied up until then. I said, well, I should probably try to find somebody else to do this, but I already know the steering thing can't be done anywhere else. So I asked them about other Hyundai dealers, and they said, well, they're getting calls from other Hyundai dealers. Everyone's having the same problem. They're understaffed. I don't know where everybody went. They're understaffed, and they said that people cancel all the time, so it's quite possible they'll be able to look at it much sooner than that. Yeah, so it's going to sit in their parking lot until July 27th. It could be a hint, Jim. It could be. I hope not, because I don't want to give this one up. It's just got slightly over 100,000 miles. I've had them longer. And I don't want to buy a car right now because the prices are ridiculous. I'd go with a used car if I did. Is that so, Big Dave? I don't know. It sounds logical. It's got an electric motor for the power steering instead of a belt-driven pump. I can imagine that being true, but I don't know. Fault in the wiring harness. That could be. Thanos snapped his fingers and poof, COVID. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if you guys saw the story that's been going around about athletes dying. There was another, like a top round draft pick in the NBA. I don't follow basketball, but this kid with a incredible career in front of him, and he just died the other day. And there's this story about the Olympics tracks athletes' deaths each year, and they've been doing this for decades, and for like, I don't want to make up numbers, but for at least the past 10 years, if not the past 30 years, something like that, there's been, I don't know, maybe 30, 70, somewhere in that range, deaths a year. And in the last year, there were hundreds. Might have even been like 700 or something ridiculous like that. I said I didn't want to make up numbers, and then I made a bunch of them up. So don't take any of the numbers seriously. But the point is, there's been a huge increase in deaths in athletes. Apparently dying of natural causes. Very strange. Now, I was talking about this with somebody at work today. We weren't talking about my car because I didn't yet know the date that they would be looking at it, but we were talking about some experience that they had while they were on vacation. I was telling them about the room cleaning thing that I talked about on Sunday, and they said, "Where did everybody go?" I said, "I don't know, but maybe they died." I don't mean make light of it, but how did our workforce get depleted? I really don't understand it. Nine weeks to look at a motorcycle. Wow, Michael. Yeah, Hyundai, I mean, at least in my experience, I've been driving Hyundais. This is my third one, and I keep them until, something major goes wrong with them. And I've not had that many problems. Really haven't. Minor things, but nothing. This is probably the biggest. This is the first time I ever got stranded in a Hyundai. So, it might just be my experience is different from others, but 6-month back order for Corvette parts. My goodness, Jim. Yeah, Yardism, I checked the reticulated dingle arm. So I don't know. I have a friend who had a, is it a BMW SUV? I think it was a BMW SUV. And he had something that they had to keep replacing. It was driving him crazy. And I can't remember what it was called, but it sounded like cyclotron. And if you know what a cyclotron is, it's really funny that there would be one in the car. So we used to joke all the time about his cyclotron going bad. Jeffrey's Elantra died at about 120K. Yeah. Opioid crisis, huh? I don't know, Michael. I mean, there's all sorts of possibilities, but it's scary. It's scary. Doug Owen, hello there, Doug. Good to see you. Artie, good to see you from Artie's place. Find another shop. Artie, I've tried, and there's nobody that can fix this steering shaft. They can't get the part. Only the dealers can get the part. And I'm just afraid that if I buy the part from the dealer and take it to them, they're going to find something else wrong that they're not going to be able to fix, and it's just going to be a mess. But I tried to find other shops, and apparently all the Hyundai dealerships have the same problem. Big Dave can't get some parts until 2023. "12 hours to remove the head." Yeah, Gary, I'm not saying it should be fast, but gosh, it's a long time to wait at a dealership. The blinker fluid. Phil Rivera, how you doing, Phil? Hope you're feeling better. Oh, you're saying that these newer cars take longer, Gary. I got you. Yes, a 72 Maverick pulled the head in under an hour. I don't even know where the head is in this car. You open it up and it's just like a plastic sheet. A pedal car like the head on Gilligan's Island. Yes. Every time I get the urge to exercise for my health, I sit down and eat a couple of donuts until the urge dissipates. If that works for you, Doug. Yeah, Tim, I'd look good in a Flintstone car. Armchair Piper, hello, Ed. Good to see you tonight. Phil is a medical wonder boy. Fantastic. That's good, Phil. I hope you are feeling better. Clarence Wood is saying it might be my muffler valve went bad. Okay, I think you guys are just picking on my lack of knowledge about cars now. I've never heard of a muffler valve. I think you're just trying to get me to agree with something ridiculous. And now you're all going to tell me, no, there really is a muffler valve. Ben Greenman, good to see you, Ben. Yeah, Chad, I do find that quite remarkable. Phil, nothing happened to the steering column as far as I know. It just, the car just shut down on me while I was driving it. And the EPS light came on, which apparently has something to do with the power steering. Yeah, Gary, it feels like they are designed to be unrepairable, and we've talked about that before, just how difficult it is to get the battery out sometimes. Um, Yeah, I think if I do have to get another car, I'm not going to get a new one. And I might even try to get, I'd like to get an old truck. Smoking Kentucky Piper. Good to see you tonight. Yeah, might be a sensor. Oh, Tim, I hope it didn't just need a nap, because then they're going to get it to the dealership and they're going to say, we can't find anything wrong. And the car that I got from that's another thing. There are no rental cars. So it was like a miracle that I was able to get a car the same day. Um, but that was a great experience. I went to Enterprise, and well, I didn't go to Enterprise. I called Enterprise, and they sent somebody to come and get me, and they took me in, and I was back at work with the car within an hour of calling them. So, but the initial reaction when I said I need a car today was, oh, I don't know. But they did have one. Unfortunately, it is a Toyota Camry. So. An old truck with the 2x60 air conditioner. Jim, I did not think to check the air pressure on the left rear turn signal. Ian Dad says the 99 Ford F-250 is still workable. Yeah, I had I loved this truck. I had a 95 Ford Ranger. And I know you guys that are into trucks, that's a toy, but I didn't need a big truck. And it was great. Because I could go and buy sheetrock and stuff like that when I needed to, but it was more like driving a car. I could park it easily, and I could work on it. It wasn't. I could change the spark plugs on it. That's the last time I changed the spark plugs, was on this 95 Ranger. Unfortunately, my wife totaled it, and I shouldn't say she totaled it. She was in a really bad accident that was not her fault, and thank God she was relatively unscathed in it. But I miss that truck. No, Sailor, it's not the time to make a car purchase. That's why I think I'm just going to bite the bullet and pay for the repairs. Unless they tell me there's something really wrong, like, the frame is rusted out or something like that. I don't think it is, but. Yeah, I've heard even the moving trucks are hard to get in California. Oh, Big Dave, you must not have been here last week for my electric car rant. I am trying to figure it out, Tim. No, Artie, I'm not getting a Tesla. Tesla put out some good tunes. Patrick Grant. Hello, Patrick. Yeah, I'm not getting a part-time summer job, Michael. I'll let you ask my wife if she's getting one. A smart car. Voodoo, thank you for clarifying the loose nut tonight. Last week it confused me, but you're very clear now. You've narrowed it down. Oh, you've had 4 Rangers, Jim? Yeah, I really loved that Ranger. I guess they're not making them anymore. Ford is making a hybrid truck in that size range. I can't remember what it was called now. Oh, okay, Tim. I wasn't getting the I figured it had something to do with the windows, but I wasn't getting the 60 part of it. Okay, 2 windows down, 60 miles an hour. That's the 2x60 air conditioner. Gotcha. 99 Ford has 412,000 miles. Wow, Ines said, that's fantastic. Is that right, Phil? I didn't know that the Mazda and the Ford were the same truck. They're not from the same factories, right? They're just the same basic design. I'm not allowed to get a motorcycle, Big Dave. Ford is making a new Ranger. I think that's right, Clarence, but I think it's bigger. Wow, Jim, that's some mileage. 78,000 miles when you sold it. Wow. Same vehicle, different badges. Well, thanks, Phil. I didn't know that. I'll have to take a look. Same thing, different logo. Thank you, Tim. Original Ranger was a 79 F100 or F50. Oh, okay. Diesel oil's running out too. Yeah, at this point, I think I'm just going to start walking everywhere. Peter, the Smooth Piper wants to know, I'll tell you why I'm laughing, if anyone has tried the new Haunted Bookshop cake. I have had more people than you would believe contact me about whether or not I've tried the new Haunted Bookshop cake. And, you know, I love it that people think of me and get in touch with me and all that, but it got to the point this past week where it was kind of ridiculous. I decided, and it's my own fault for talking about Haunted Bookshop so much, you know. I decided that I wasn't going to try it because I pressed it a couple years ago. I didn't find it to be any different from Haunted Bookshop, and in my opinion, Haunted Bookshop's a very good blend, and they shouldn't mess with it. But that's just my opinion. So I really decided I wasn't gonna buy it, and then I was doing some horse trading with someone on Instagram, and it doesn't matter who it was. But I was going to do some work for them, and you know, I said, well, if you want to buy me a tin of tobacco, I'll be happy. And they said, what kind of tobacco do you want? I said, anything burley. And I said, you know, I've been on the fence about this Haunted Bookshop cake. So if you want to push me over the fence with a tin of that, I'll try it. And they went and looked. It was sold out. This was like the day after they started selling it. It's sold out. I don't know what's wrong with people. I think anything that is limited is going to just sell out overnight. And boy, the tobacco companies have tapped into that. I did tell the Urban Hermit last night, that if one more person asked me about Haunted Bookshop, I would scream so loud he would hear me in Canada. And Peter, I'm sorry. I appreciate the question. I'm not making fun of it or anything. It's just that I don't want to be an authority on Haunted Bookshop. It's something that I just kind of fell into because I like the stuff. What kind of horse did I get? Clarence, if I could think of a type of horse, a Clydesdale. There you go. That's something you're not likely to have here in southeastern Pennsylvania. I got a Clydesdale. Your brick and mortar has no Haunted Bookshop because they pressed it. Hype affects cognition, yes. Well, ENAS Dad, I agree with you. The limited stuff takes the pressure off the blends we love, unless they're taking the blend you love and pressing it to make the limited stuff, in which case it creates more pressure. Yeah, Phil, there's a lot of head shaking these days. Glenn Dunnington, good to see you, Glenn. I'm glad you're enjoying the chat. It's great that you're joining us tonight. And Everett's down at his last jar of Haunted Bookshop. Excuse me. Clarence, that's a fantastic idea. I'll get a buggy to go with the Clydesdale, and all I'll have to do is buy hay, which will apparently be in short supply very soon. Burley Nut Bob, how you doing, Burley Nut? Bob, good to see you tonight. Gary Edminster has never had Haunted Bookshop. Well, Gary, you're either dodging a bullet or you don't know what you're missing, because those are pretty much the two schools of thought on Haunted Bookshop. Where did I put my lighter? Oh. It was right in front of me, but I couldn't see past my hand. Thank you, Doug. So I did get some tobacco in. I'll do a yeah, but no, I won't. I ordered. I've got this cellared, but I don't want to open up the jars. I haven't had any in a long time. So I got 8 ounces of Old Joe Krantz, and I had a bowl of that this morning, and that's good stuff. It's so much sweeter than Haunted Bookshop, though. It took me some getting used to again. And then I picked up a little bit of Haunted Bookshop. I'm set for a while. Patrick Grant is smoking some Haunted Bookshop in a 602 Savinelli bent billiard. And Paul Johnson's got some in a Phil Rivera pot. One of my favorite Haunted Bookshop smoking instruments is a Phil Rivera pot. Well, Phil might not have called it a pot, but I call it a pot. Short pot. Yeah, Ben, I'm sorry. The box was already open. That's why I said it wasn't a Yabo. Smoking Kentucky Piper says he's not big on Burley unless it's dark fired. Yeah, well, there are folks that love Burley and folks that can't smoke it. And you know, I'm that way with Virginias. Although I've gotten a little bit more open to Virginias over the years, but there was a time when I couldn't smoke them. Oh, Big Dave, that's a good point. The horse would produce methane. I'd probably have to pay extra tax on that. No, Gary, I'm not going to press the Haunted Bookshop. Burley Nut Bob, I did not get any of the Haunted Bookshop cake. There was 2 pounds there, Armchair Piper. It's 2 weeks worth. And Ian asked Dad is smoking 5100 in his Phil Rivera Lavat. A lot of Phil Riveras today. Wish I brought mine down, one of mine down. Oh, Gary, that's kind of you to let me borrow your van, but I bet you're not really close enough. Beowulf and Miss Kathy, haunted bookshop and a left-handed pipe. Patrick Grant has that terrible problem of not finding a blend that his palate doesn't like. That's a good problem to have, Patrick. That's kind of you, Smoking Kentucky Piper. Kirk has got a Big Ben pipe with 301 Dutch Cavendish. Very nice. And MTMTB has got Old Dark Fired and a 673. I'm going to have some of that Old Joe Krantz when I'm finished with this. Boris the Piper's got Penzance and a Cobb. Yes, Sailor, there does seem to be an odd number of blends coming out this year. And I don't know if it's the point you mentioned, you know, bumper harvest or declining sales or inventories high. I think it's just that the companies have discovered that if they put out something limited, it flies off the shelves. Artie, excuse me. Artie, thank you so much. Hopefully that gave you a foghorn. Gary, that would have been a fine day if we would meet at Boswell's. Absolutely. $102 in Tucson today. Wow. The car fund. Thank you, Artie. Ron Hardcrackers has got some Match Revelation in a Missouri Mission Patriot Bowl with bamboo shank cub. I think it was called a Wangi. Nice. And Nick Trapani's got White Knight in a Savinelli R1. Aroni. I think we're done with this. And Armchair Piper is in for Boswell's. Yeah, Gary, I've smoked a lot of blends that were history and came back, which is kind of interesting. But some are history. JMZ's got Philosopher in his Friday Savinelli. I'm finished with the Haunted Bookshop in the Friday Savinelli, so I'm going to set that aside. And I'm going to, speaking of Boswell's, 6 hours to Boswell's. Well, that's doable, Gary. I mean, how long did it take us, Ed? We thought it was going to be a lot less, but it might have been close to 6 hours. Bob Kraus. Oh my goodness, Bob. It's good to see you. Haven't seen you in a while, but you had a serious neck operation. I hope you're doing well. And the Smooth Piper says he had some Sugar Barrel yesterday and it was so good. Why did they discontinue? I don't know. I'm sure there were marketing reasons. So I am going to smoke my Boswell Calabash. Got this out this morning. Been thinking of my buddy Jack, who has a Boswell Calabash quite like this. I have not been able to get in touch with Jack. And, I got to admit, I just kind of gave up because every time I call, it's either there's no answer or the call won't go through or the line is busy. So I don't know what's going on with Jack. So the Urban Hermit says that Nutty Irishman is okay, but not something he would smoke every day. He would smoke it if he was around a bunch of people. Yeah, I probably agree with you on that, Everett. I wouldn't want it every day, but it certainly is. It was nice to have for the car ride with my wife. And I like, for some reason, on weekend mornings when I'm working down here, I like an aromatic, just once a week. And it's been, since I got it, I've been smoking that instead of autumn evening. Tim, I can recommend the Boswell pipe. I mean, I don't know. There are Boswells. I have two Boswells. This one, no, I got three Boswells. I've got their version of the Bing's Favorite. I've got this pipe that I got with Jack, and then I've got one that he gave me. And I love all three of them. I look at some of their pipes. They put out every Monday on Instagram. They put out. Oh, I almost filled this on a bookshop. It's just automatic. They put out their new pipes every Monday, and some of them just. I just don't get the aesthetic of them, but people love them. So, but they perform wonderfully. So I'm going to load the Boswell Calabash with some Old Joe Crabs. Oh, Voodoo, that's not good. He's having a lower back fusion at the end of July, and he's being asked to quit smoking. Yeah, I guess that's for blood clotting reasons. It was interesting. I was looking. So I changed doctors a while back, and that got me into a whole mess of other doctors. So I'm seeing this. I was seeing an orthopedic surgeon for my knee problem, and he just basically said, "Well, we're going to have to do a knee replacement." And I thought that doesn't seem right. So I went to see a sports medicine doctor, and he looked at the same X-rays and said, "No, this isn't that bad. As long as you're okay with it, there's no need to do a knee replacement." And he said, when the time comes, you're going to need one. It's inevitable, but there's no reason it has to happen anytime soon. So that was good. And the doctors that I've been seeing, they're all part of. So I've pretty much consolidated everything under one hospital system. So there's one web portal that I can go to and get all my information, and I can say I need a prescription refill or anything like that, which is great. But you also can see the notes that they take during the appointment, which is kind of cool. I've never had that happen before. I'll comment on that in a minute, Beowulf and Miss Kathy. So anyway, I was looking through the notes from this sports medicine doctor, and he said, we talked about the potential for knee replacement in the future, but he's young and doesn't need that yet. And it said patient was advised that if surgery is necessary, total cessation of smoking will be required. And we did not talk about that, which I thought was odd. And I understand it. I know there's issues with blood clotting and all that, and I know that might have to happen, for my own safety. I'd do it. I wouldn't enjoy it, but I'd do it. But I just thought it was odd that he put it in there when we never talked about it. Beowulf and Miss Kathy mentioned that Jay Mouton's been having YouTube problems. I don't understand that. I mean, he apparently has got 2 strikes and he doesn't know what they're for, and they say one more and he's banned. I've never gotten anything like that. And you know, my videos are a lot more pro tobacco than Jason's are, so I don't understand why they're going after him. You know, it might be that somebody's reporting him, which would be unfortunate. Okay, Doug Owen says that a lot of the old drugstore blends like Sugar Barrel lost their market because those were carried by the, you know, the Rite Aids and the Walgreens, and when they stopped selling tobacco, they didn't have an outlet anymore. Artie's asking how's my friend that fishes and was in the rehab place. That's Jack. I have not been able to get in touch with him, and I feel terrible about that. I'm gonna try this weekend. I'm gonna try to call him at home because he should be out of the rehab place by now. But it's odd that he hasn't called me. And every time I try to call him, I can't get through. So I don't know what's going on. But Jack, I know you're not watching this now, but if you're seeing this down the road, I'm thinking about you, buddy. Uh-oh. By the way, is one of my favorite Zippo lighters. It's a St. Benedict lighter that was a gift from my buddy, the Artful Codger, and I cherish this greatly. Although I can't get it light right now. Maybe the doctor is a lurker, Tim. Piper on the porch. Good evening to you. He's enjoying some Peterson Irish whiskey tonight. Very good. Oh yeah, Corvette Jim was in YouTube jail recently. They removed the strikes. Good. I'm glad you fought back. That's a good point, Phil. It might be because of the charity work, which really sucks because, you know, that's a good thing. It's the last thing in the world they should be attacking somebody over. Yeah, Sailor, I'm sure that's why they want you to stop smoking. Who was that asked? Michael Case is asking, the weight loss should have helped my knee, did it? And it did. It did quite a bit, yes. The white cord behind this one? Better? I don't want Yardism to have to be brushing hair from his screen. If that's not the right cord, I can pull another one out, Chad. The Urban Hermit is patiently waiting for his 673 Roma and Cornell and Deal Zippo to arrive. Yeah, you're going to like the Zippo. The reason that cord is there is you can see, I can't actually see if I'm, yeah, this bracket is, it's supposed to hold a tablet, and I would watch YouTube videos while I was working on pipes, and the tablet has wandered off to other parts of the house, and I can never seem to get it back down here. So the cord has just been hanging there because it was plugged into the tablet. Uh, Now I've thrown it on the floor and I'll probably never find it again. Tim uses vegan glucosamine for his knees and that works. Yeah, Phil, that's probably what it amounted to. Oh, it's good to know, Tim. Yeah, I've taken glucosamine in the past, but not for a while. I'm looking into that. They can do is it a hyaluronic acid, I think, injection, which is like a elastic fluid that just provides some cushioning. Because I've been getting steroid injections, which are fine, but they actually cause a lot of bone damage over time. And, the doctor says, what difference does it make? You've already got damage. And I get that, but I don't want to pile it on top there. Big Dave, it has not been hard to keep the weight off. It's actually been hard to not continue to lose weight, oddly enough. I was getting lightheaded when I stood up. And I've got theories about why that's the case, but we don't need to get into it. My doctor said that I wasn't eating enough, and he wants me to have, at a minimum, 2,000 calories a day. I can't eat 2,000 calories. I have not been able to. I can get up to like 1,800, and I don't have room for more than that. Mark Vegnar. Hello, Mark. The docs measured on a bunch of stupid crap now, and they basically answered accountants. Yeah, that's true. I mean, the HMOs have really created a lot of problems for medicine, and you're right. I mean, they're checking boxes, but I'm lucky. I've got a couple of good ones. Oh, you're allergic to seafood, so you have to go with the vegan stuff. I got you, Tim. Yeah, Gary, I think it is a viable option. I'll try it at least. PRP and stem cells. Paul Johnson, I don't actually know what PRP is. I know about the stem cells. Doug Owen misses the white cord. And he quotes Joni Mitchell. Thank you, Doug. That really made me laugh. Little Debbie can help with that. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I got to eat more calorie dense stuff. But it's been crazy. I'm not bragging about this. I just changed my diet so much that now I don't eat the kind of stuff that I used to eat. And it's not as calorically dense. So I've been doing weird things like putting butter on stuff that I wouldn't normally put butter on just to get more calories out of it. Protein rich plasma. Thank you, Paul. Thank you. I'll look into that. Yes, that's true, Sailor. The smoking cessation is a required subject. So they do have to offer you the option of, you know, nicotine patches or varenicline or whatever. But usually it's the conversation is, would you like to stop smoking? And I say absolutely not, and then they smile and move on. But we did not have it. We had that discussion, but we didn't have the discussion of if you have to get surgery, it will have to stop. And I don't fault the doctor for this. I think it's right as I think it was, I don't know who it was that said it, but it's a box checking thing where they just have to check it off, and I'm okay with that. Now I've got to scroll back up to see what Tim said that Doug's reacting to. Little Debbie, okay. I think he did mean the cupcake. Nutty bars, yeah. Okay, so they're using your own plasma to inject you, I guess then. Yeah, I saw that the FDA basically made Juul stop immediately stop selling their vaping stuff. I, on the one hand, I'm not a big fan of vaping. It's basically nicotine dosing. I don't know why anybody ever thought it was a good thing. Uh, but on the other hand, it does set a precedent for us, and we need to be concerned about that. Yeah, Michael, that's what it is. It just sort of is a habit that once you fall out of it, you don't really want them. You don't miss them. I can't disagree with that, Gary Edminster. Everett, I don't think a full body patch would do it to you. They just have to put you in a tub. Everett will just get dunked in nicotine every once in a while. Dry herb vaping with tobacco is nice. A cool, smooth smoke, but a pain in the butt to clean up. I don't know what that is, Mark, but Juul is a Chinese-owned company. Put Everett in a brine. Everett is now the urban hermit, Paul. Yes. And yes, within 10 minutes, he'd be wanting his haunted bookshop. Indeed, there, Everett. It's funny. Every time I talk to Jack, and I do have to talk to him, I feel really bad that I haven't. Uh, what he would tell me is because he can't smoke in this facility he's been in for quite a while now. And I know exactly which pipe I'm going to pick up when I get home, and I know exactly what I'm going to put in it. He's fantasizing about his first bowl of tobacco. Doug, it's funny. Doug says he used to call an old girlfriend Cupcake, but that was pre-women's lib. Um, I, I recently had a waitress call me sweetie. And I thought, I didn't mind it. It was kind of nice. But I thought, boy, if I was a woman and it was a waiter, am I even allowed to say waiter and waitress anymore? There'd probably be a lawsuit or something. Oh, that's interesting. So Bear Wolf and Miss Kathy said Kathy's dad used to make a shake for weight gain when she was younger and had anemia and weight loss after surgery. Wow, that's a equal parts. That's quite a calorie bomb, isn't it? So equal parts condensed milk and water, malt, honey, raw egg, and sometimes with ice cream. Wow. Oh, Big Dave was asking how much total weight I lost. It's about 140 pounds. which, you know, it's a lot, and you know it. But honestly, once you get started, if you build the habit, and that's the whole thing is about habits, really. You know, once you're used to eating in a certain way, you just eat that way. And I think that's why I gained so much weight, is that I was used to eating in a certain way, which was far outstripping the number of calories I needed. And it's just easy. You just stick with it. Jeffrey, Jack doesn't have any family members. I do have the phone number for his power of attorney, who I had to call to get the number of the new facility. And I'm not going to call her. So I don't know if Jack would want me to talk about this, but I got yelled at for basically encouraging Jack to smoke pipes. And you all have people like this in your lives that think you should stop smoking. And you know, Gary, that's a good point. I could call the facility directly, but I don't actually know the name of the facility. I just have a phone number, which is his direct number in the facility. Maybe I could do some detective work around that. Oh, I bet that was a letdown, Doug, when you realized that she was calling other people sweetie. Crown Royal apple. That sounds interesting, Phil. I I'm sure I had Crown Royal at some point. It must not have impressed me. I don't know, Sarah. The last few decisions have actually been giving me hope that there was still some sanity in the world. But we shall see how long the sanity lasts. Green beer can sold in a 4-pack. And it's apple flavored? I guess it is if it's Crown Royal apple. Yeah, I remember those Crown Royal bags, Michael. Those were handy. I used to box when I was in high school, and we'd have the hand wraps that you have to put on, and the mouth guards and stuff. And we all had Crown Royal bags that we'd put those in to carry them around. Yeah, Doug, that's a good point. And it is surprisingly easy to kill yourself with nicotine. Not if you're smoking, unfortunately. Well, not unfortunately, unfortunately. It would be very hard to smoke that much. But if you're dealing with, powdered nicotine, pure nicotine, and trying to make your own vape juice, you could do some damage. Crown Royal bag of change would be a weapon. Yes, Big Dave. Yeah, I know, Sailor. They are exploding, and on the one hand, it's fun to watch, but on the other hand, it's going to get messy. It's going to get very messy, and I don't know where this is going to go. I mean, no matter where you're at politically, this idea that when you don't get your way, you can burn things down and kill people is wrong. Um, that's just not the way a civilized society conducts itself. Yes, Everett, I suppose that if the two of us ever got together, we wouldn't be allowed to video that because that could be a toxic level of nicotine. Voodoo says, "Watch The Handmaid's Tale." I'm not familiar with that, but I'll check it out. That's where it's going to go. Get judges to reverse. Yeah, I mean that's the way. That's the way this is supposed to work. We're supposed to be able to find the. Well, first off, you got to assume that there is a solution, right? And that's the problem. For a lot of the things that we wind up arguing over these days, there may not be a solution. Some of them are invented problems. Um, just to use one that's been discussed here, you know, can a man get pregnant? Well, of course not. That's just obvious. Yet we're in a situation where we're arguing about it. So how are we ever going to fix that? How are we ever going to figure out what the right answer is there? Um, it's just crazy. But Tunnel Take, how you doing, Greg? I hope it's not called a civil war. Oh, Paul, I don't know about Everett, but that's the first time I've been uh, compared to Cheech and or Chong. That's funny. Yeah, I really try hard to not talk about politics during these shows, and I don't think we're talking about politics right now. We're talking about the world and the fact that there's just something not right, no matter which side you're on. And that's a good point, Sailor. Distractions, I worry about that. I watched a series on Netflix just this past week. And I hate bringing this up because I really don't recommend you watch this. It was a series, it was a comedy. And if you're not if you don't like Mike Myers, you'll hate this. But it was called The Pentaverate. And the premise of this show is that there's 5 people that actually run the world. And it actually, from the point of view of U.S. Canada relations, it was hilarious. There were some hilarious jokes about Canada. I'm sorry to my Canadian friends. Mike Myers is Canadian, and I guess that's why he felt comfortable doing it. But it was foul. I mean, there was a lot of foul language. There was just completely unnecessary nudity, and not the kind you want to see. I mean, I just really don't recommend it. But it was funny. There were some laughs in it. There's this character, I don't remember any of the characters' names. Mike Myers plays like most of the cast. He plays like 8 different characters in this thing. And there's this one character that is basically a Rupert Murdoch knockoff. Media magnate who's made all his money through tabloids and stuff like that. And this question comes up about, whether the media should be representing the truth or whether they should be creating a reality for people to believe in. And I'm probably overinterpreting what was being said, but that was kind of the basic premise here. And the Murdoch guy he's a despicable character. And he says, the fact is these people don't deserve truth. They didn't sell, they gave up their right to truth when they were willing to trade their personal information on social media for a little bit of entertainment. And that struck me, that really struck me. What is it possible to deserve truth? Is that something do we just take it for granted? Are we selling out to the point where we don't get truth anymore? Because it's hard to find truth anymore. It's getting harder every day. And I'm not picking on one side or the other here. I don't care where your political opinions lie, you shouldn't be trusting the news because they're clearly not telling you the truth. There are things that are just not getting reported. There are things that are getting over-reported. The news outlets themselves have admitted that they're crafting reality. Social media, we know, there was a recent revelation that Twitter has far more automated accounts than anybody knew about. What does that mean? And there's all the allegations about Facebook, with their fact checking and stuff. And, so it's just an interesting thought, do we deserve the truth? Did we ever deserve the truth? Did we ever have the truth? Is there even a truth to have? That's an interesting question. I'm going to take another drink before I get too philosophical here. So Phil's just going for emotional content. He doesn't even want the truth. Clarence Wood, please do not tell my wife about the Roku TV thing, because she will immediately go out and buy that. And we do not need Hallmark Christmas movies 24 hours a day. Oh, I'm sorry, Phil. Phil says people don't want to hear truth anymore. Yeah, and the Sailor brings up again, it's all about distraction. That's where I was going with that. I'm sorry I didn't get back to it, but are these crises that are occurring, and boy, they've been occurring more and more frequently, are they really just distractions from something else? Gary says truth went out the window after JFK was shot. That was an important moment in it for sure. Yeah, Tim, I agree with you. It's true of both sides that they only watch what they want to hear. It's very rare that you find somebody that's willing to listen to the other side and try to synthesize things. It's very rare. Um, and feels before reels is very accurate. Yeah, Jim, I agree with you. I rarely watch television. I haven't watched a network program in years. I watch movies. I'll sometimes watch Netflix. Watched an interesting documentary last night that I'll tell you about as soon as I get caught up here. All right, Tim, have a good night, buddy. I hope you're feeling better. 15 plus years. Yeah, I'm not that far along, Phil, but I wish I was. Beowulf and Miss Kathy are calling in tonight too. All right, well you guys have a great night and a great weekend. Oh, Clarence, that's not kind. But yeah, I guess if you have to suffer, you should take somebody down with you. All right, Bob Kraus, please take care. I'm glad to hear you're doing okay, and I hope the pain meds work for you. So I watched a documentary on Netflix last night that was really interesting. It was called Fantastic Fungi, and it was about mushrooms. And I know almost nothing about mushrooms except you can buy them in the supermarket, and they grow in my yard. Um, but this was about sort of medicinal uses, and got a little bit into the psychedelic mushrooms and how they're now being used for depression and things like that, which is interesting. But it was also about like using fungi to combat insects. There's a fungus that they've found that can basically wipe out colonies of termites. Really fascinating, like an hour and a half documentary. I enjoyed that. So if you're interested in mushrooms, look it up. I highly recommend that. I don't recommend you watch the Pentaveret, but it was funny. Clarence Wood is lonely. Is that because of the Hallmark Christmas stuff? My wife has been looking forward to Christmas in July for months now, and that's why I know she'll be home soon because it's already started. It's not even July yet, and it's already started on some of the channels. But apparently, there's this big hullabaloo in the Hallmark world because apparently Hallmark is not going to be showing some of their older Christmas movies, which are the ones that people really love because they want to promote the new ones, I suppose. Six months till Christmas Eve. That's something, Kadri Jim. Oh, Mark, you saw that documentary? Yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I didn't look at it and say, "Oh, wow, I can't wait to watch this." It was just sometimes I just want to put a documentary on and learn something, and that was what it felt like when I put it on last night, and it was really interesting. Yeah, I can't either, Peter. Christmas in July doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Sailor's only interested in mushrooms when he eats them with steak. That works too. Oh, Paul Johnson saying, how do you smoke 1 pound of Haunted Bookshop in 1 month? You smoke it one bowl at a time, Paul. It's a little more than a month, though. I think I've been going like close to 40 days. Yeah, deep fried breaded mushrooms. That's something good there, Jim. Yeah, the magic mushroom stuff was interesting because, and I know this because I'm in the neuroscience field, um, and they're getting remarkable results with these things. You know, they're it's not the mushrooms. They're actually using psilocybin, which is the active ingredient. And people that have major depression, these are people that are suicidal and nothing works except electroconvulsive shock, which is obviously not the most pleasant thing in the world. Although it's not as bad as it used to be. It's kinder, gentler version of electroconvulsive shock. A single dose, and these people can have like 6 months of remission, no depression for 6 months after a single dose. And what's sad, if you watch this documentary, is apparently this was known back in the 50s and 60s, but because of the whole war on drugs, that research was squashed. It wouldn't be funded, couldn't be funded through NIH or NSF. So the research stopped, and that's kind of sad because you have to think about how many people wound up committing suicide that wouldn't have. Yeah, exactly. It's like eating an elephant, Paul. Voodoo says the documentary Meltdown was shocking. I'll have to look at that. I do like a good documentary. I like them because they're not a huge investment. You can watch it in one evening, and like a series you have to invest in. So even if it's not great, you can get through it. But I'll check out Meltdown. Thank you, Voodoo. Jeffrey's calling me a fun guy. Ah, thank you, Jeffrey. Paul Johnson said his brother is microdosing the mushrooms and it's helping him. Well, that's fantastic, Paul. Yeah, I've worked my whole career I work for a drug company, and obviously I've learned over the years that our job is to make money. I went into it thinking my job was to help people, and I still believe that. And I happen to work for a company that still believes that to an extent, but they still have the bottom line. We're a publicly held company, so got to make money. But there's a lot that we're missing because it's there. It's already there. You can't make money off of it, and that's a perfect example. If you can microdose mushrooms and get results, there's no money to be made there, but it can change people's lives, and that's a good thing. Yeah, Phil just said that there's no money for it, and you're right, Phil. I might be Yardism, but the names aren't ringing a bell with me. If you let me know what kind of work they do, it might help. Cowpatty mushrooms, yeah. Oh, it's about 3 Mile Island. Yeah, that would be very cool. That's not very far from where I grew up, and I remember being sent home that day from grade school. Scary. Yeah, I know about that book, Doug, and they made a movie about it too, a Scorsese movie. I never saw it. I never read the book. It's a good point, Sailor. The documentaries can mislead you. And there's been a few that, yeah, I tend to not watch them in my area of interest, so I don't know if I'm being misled most of the time. But I'm not basing any life decisions on them either. But you do have to check the facts if you're going to act on anything. Yeah, traumatic brain injury is a big problem, Gary, and you're right. I mean, the suicide rate among veterans is appalling, and it's terrible that we can't do something about that. Oh, Doug, you should save that for stupid joke night. Phil, that's actually gotten better. I agree with you about incentivizing the prescriptions, but it's gotten better over like the past 10 years or so. A lot more regulations in place that make it harder for companies to push their drug over a competitor's drug. Okay, Yardism. Yeah, I'm not that familiar with them. I don't. That's not ringing a bell for me. I mean, my own area of interest. This is going to bore people to sleep, and we're actually running out of time here. But I'm really interested in information processing in the brain. So, how cognitive information gets processed in the cortex. Not so much things like hemisphere specificity or and neurocognitive. That's a big field, and a lot of it is more psychology than the actual sort of biophysics of how the brain is working. So yeah, that's how I spend my time is, and it's not just like there's information processing that occurs in movement and just about everything you do, breathing, everything involves some amount of information processing, and that's something that I've been interested in for a long time. I'll check them out, Chad. I'll definitely check them out. Uh, yeah, Doug. Doug's saying propaganda against nuclear energy. I mean, I haven't seen Meltdown, but 3 Mile Island did happen, and it was actually very close to being a problem. But you're right, nuclear energy is relatively safe, all things considered, and it certainly is environmentally friendly. Um, but I've always been, I enjoy, I like Godzilla and those giant monster movies, the kaiju movies. And I watched for the first time, I think, the other day. I watched Gamera. Was it Gamera the Giant Monster? I think, which was the first Gamera movie. I've seen it before, but I've never seen the Japanese version of it. And it's another one of these. The Japanese after Hiroshima and Nagasaki, they really took a strong stance against nuclear weapons and the effects they would have on the environment. They became very uh, concerned with that. And these movies, the early Godzilla movies, the first Godzilla movie is very dark because of that. And this Gamera movie was really interesting to watch the Japanese version of it because I didn't realize just how I always thought it was a lighthearted movie, with the English dubbing, but it's actually very much involved with the problems of nuclear war. And there's some hilarious dialogue in it because there are Americans uh, in the movie, but um, they're speaking lines that were written by Japanese, and they say things that are quite funny sometimes. So if you haven't seen that movie in the original Japanese, it's worth watching. Oh yeah, the VA's got problems too, Phil. Yes, Michael, the drug reps are largely chosen based on their looks and their ability to schmooze. All right, Corvette Jim, you have a good weekend, and I'm gonna start wrapping up here too. We're running a little bit late, and I got to go check on my doggies who have been very good tonight. So, thank you all for this. We went off into some areas that I don't normally like to go off into, but they were topical for the night, and I thank you all for listening and joining in, and giving your opinions too. It's I've said this a million times, and I'll always say it. It's important to listen to both sides. It's important to check facts. It's the only way we're ever going to do the right thing, and I don't know what the right thing is either. Yes, Patrick Raymond Burr was in the original Godzilla. Fantastic movie. All right, folks, let me get this done. Now I get to eat the olives. Thank you again for joining me. Friday night is always the best night of the week for me. I'll be back on Sunday with a Sunday video. I hope you all have a great weekend and enjoy your week, and we'll be back. Next Friday is July 1st. I figure maybe we'll do something fun for the 4th of July. We'll do some trivia or something. So hope you can tune in then, and I'll look forward to seeing you. Thanks, everyone. Have a great weekend.